Hi, it's David McLean with Living in Toronto Real Estate. On this channel, we look at anything and everything related to real estate in Toronto and the Greater Toronto Area. So on this video, we're going to continue on with our Condos 101 series, everything you ever wanted to know about condos but were afraid to ask. And in this specific video today, we're going to talk about how you choose your unit. There's thousands of units out there on the market, so how do you choose the one that's right for you? I mean, there's everything from soup to nuts, right? And in between, so stay tuned. The first thing I think you should consider, number one on the list, is location. Where in the city, in this great big city of ours, do you want to live? And you decide this based on proximity to transit. Do you want to be close to work? Do you want to be close to other friends and family? So first thing is, what neighborhood do you want to live in? Do you want it to be a more quiet neighborhood? Do you want it to be bustling, close to the entertainment center, downtown? Or one of the other many areas, other neighborhoods, regions around the downtown core? So that's number one. Next is, what size of unit do you want? Starter units in the city are, under 500 square feet. And often, given pricing, that's where people start. So do you, for example, want a bachelor studio unit, or do you want a one bedroom? Do you want a 1+ den? Do you want to be working at home? You want an extra area to that possibly is big enough to have a fold-out couch that you can have company over? You want to have a home office? Or is a 1 bedroom fine? Or do you want to have a 2 or 3 bedroom? It depends on how many people are going to be living there. This is important because everything to do with elements of a condo attached to that is pricing. The larger the condo, of course, the more money it's going to cost. A den's going to cost more than a 1 bedroom, and so forth. So this is important, is to decide what you need and move forward from there. The other thing to consider about this too is, maybe down the road you might want to sell and get a bigger unit, but to get into the market, you're okay with a starter condo. In a lot of the newer buildings, as kind of fun and exciting it is to be in certain neighborhoods with some of these brand new condos, the units are often a smaller square footage, and that's because it costs more to buy land, so the developer has had to be conscientious about how many units they put in the building, and units are getting a little smaller. So for instance, you'll see what we call a European kitchen. The kitchen's on one wall, and your dining and living area are sort of around that, and it's all sort of in one room. So that's important too. If that's something that you cannot stand, you just loathe that layout, then you're going to be looking at maybe a little older units. And by older, I mean maybe 10 years or older. That maybe have an absolute separate kitchen, a galley kitchen, or there's going to be like a bar that you can look over and entertain because there's a kitchen with that separation. So these are things that are important. A lot of the new units have the bedroom that has the frosted glass sliding door, and that's the bedroom. Or that's, again, maybe not for you. You want to have a separate absolute bedroom with a real, like an old-fashioned door on it and things like that. So layout. To some people, it's not as important as the location and other aspects, but if that's important to you, you want to decide that before, really communicate that to your agent before you start looking at units, so you know that you're going to be looking at something that matches your criteria and desire for the layout. Balconies. Now, some people could care less if their unit had a balcony. Other people, this is an absolute must. They want to have that outdoor space. They want to be able to sit out there in the nice weather. They want to be able to entertain. So this is important. Not all buildings, the units have balconies. Some have larger balconies than others. Some have smaller. Some have the separation on both sides where your balcony is separated only by a frosted glass and your neighbor's on the other side. Others have more cement. It's it's more private. So these are important things to consider, because in a condo, of course, you're sharing a lot of space with people. So you want to decide how much absolute privacy is important and how you define privacy. And that's an element that's going to come into play in terms of your balcony. Parking. Is this important for you to have with your unit? Now, some of the newer buildings, they are actually being built that not all the units in that building have a parking spot assigned to them. Some of these only have, say, the larger units one plus dens and up to 2 bedrooms and higher. Maybe some of the smaller units don't have a parking attached. Now, with the downtown core being what it is, you have a lot of ways to get around in terms of transit, but the thing with parking is that parking adds money. To have a parking spot that you own that's part of the title that's attached to your unit, that can add money. That can be as much as $85,000 or more in the downtown core to have a parking space. So it's very important in terms of your overall budget and expenses for this first condo that you're buying perhaps, or for an investment. Do you need and want, want or need or want a parking spot? What is in the building? They're very, very different. Some come with every amenity you can imagine. A pool. Now, this is more common in some of the older buildings, but some of them do have either an outdoor or an indoor pool. A lot of the newer buildings have an outdoor pool, so that's only available to you in the summertime. But often they'll have a gym, different sizes of gyms. Some will have a sauna. Often they have a library, meeting room, party room. These kind of things are important to consider. Some are more bare bones than others. So that's something you want to really determine what is important to you. You might like the condo. You might say, your agent sent you a listing. Oh, I love this unit, but it doesn't have some of the amenities that you would really like. So that's important. Also, the concierge. Some of the buildings, a lot of them have a concierge person who sits at the desk. Some have no concierge, just a buzz in. That's how you get in your guest. Now, for a lot of people, having a desk, someone at the desk, a concierge, gives a sense of security. There's somebody there, and in some buildings 24 hours, so you want to find out if the concierge is only there to midnight, or if it's a 24-hour, 7 days a week kind of staffing. And that gives just a sense of, there's that eyes in the lobby, who's coming and going. There will often be the person that will let a food delivery person in, things like that. Not every building has that, as I mentioned, so that's important to consider too. Someone at the desk in terms of that security or added sense of security. Pets. Dogs and cats and, goats. Are you allowed to have a goat in your condo? Maybe, maybe not. So you want to make sure you understand the pet policy. So sometimes on listings you'll see restricted, and people are like, what does that mean? Often what that means is usually the number of pets that you're allowed in your unit, and that is decided in the condo rules and regulations. So this is important. Are you allowed only 2 pets, 1 dog, 1 cat, things like that. So make sure that your agent explains that to you very clearly. Some places don't allow pets at all. They're just not allowed. And that's something that maybe from the very beginning when the board was formed, they decided, then they voted, and the body of the membership of the condo voted no pets. Now, that's not that common. Most buildings downtown, are pet friendly. Maintenance fees or condo fees, as most people are familiar with the term. And this is what pays for the extra expenses per month that go towards the building, in addition to of course, your mortgage and your utilities. Now, every building is different. Some of the older buildings, it's amazing. They cover almost everything. For example, heat, hydroelectricity, and water, all of that stuff is covered in the maintenance fee. Now, that will be a little higher, but when you think of what you would have paid for your utilities plus the building's maintenance fee combined, that's usually going to make sense. Now, a lot of the newer buildings, the maintenance fee covers very little. Maybe water. Most of the other heat, hydroelectricity is not covered. We'll cover building insurance, not your own owner's insurance in your unit. So it's important to know what is the condo fee, how much it is per month, and what does it cover. Now, sometimes people wonder, what are these maintenance fees for? Well, it goes towards a number of different things in terms of, and the budget is determined by the board that is elected by the membership, the owners of the building, the separate unit owners. Now, these are going to be things like upkeep, maintenance of the building. It's going to be for any staff. A lot of buildings, of course, have cleaning staff, clean the floors, vacuum, clean the elevators, keep things nice and tidy, staff in terms of the concierge, people who work at the desk. So that's what some of the condo fees go towards. So these are budgeted. This is separated, divided between all the owners, and that's a big part of how the amount that you pay every month is determined, is decided in terms of what your condo fee is. Basically, every single building is like a little corporation, and it's going to have staff. There's going to be people that are paid, as I mentioned before, cleaning staff, concierge, things like that, people that do landscaping for the building. So that's something to consider that you wouldn't have in a home, in your own house. You're going to sort of be separate and pay for everything and determine, do I care what my garden looks like or not? A building has a certain kind of upkeep and expense, and that is those funds come out of the condo fees that all the owners put in every month. Rules and regulations. Oh my goodness, every building has that. And you'll get a chance actually to take a look at that before you sign on the dotted line and put your deposit down and arrange to buy a unit. You're going to have a chance to overlook something called the status certificate. And in that document, those documents, there's going to be rules and regulations. Now, what's in there? Usually it's things you can't do. Like some buildings that you cannot barbecue, that would be fun, wouldn't it, in the summertime? Some buildings allow that, some do not. You can't sort of like hang your laundry out over the balcony, as much as you might want to do that and conserve energy. So there's going to be things in there, and that's very important for you to know what is and isn't allowed. And that's going to be something that you want to make sure that you review and you understand, because as I said before, every building is a separate little entity, its own little universe that has rules and regulations. That's part of the world we live in, right? And again, unlike being a solo owner, a separate owner of a house, and you can kind of do pretty well anything you want legally, condo buildings are different. They have a community, and it's governed, and there are some rules and regulations. And they're usually all to do with common sense and respect for your fellow neighbor, but it's important just to know what those are. So there you have it. That's pretty well sort of the general things to consider. Most of the main points I hope I covered in terms of things that you want to consider when choosing a unit in a condo building. If there's anything that you still have questions about, please put those in the comment section or contact me directly, because actually, I say this a lot, but there really are no silly questions in real estate. So please feel free to reach out if you have you can email me, or I'm happy to chat with you if you have any questions about what's involved in any of the process of buying a condo. And watch for my next video. We're going to continue the series and break it down, all the minutiae, all the aspects of looking for, finding, buying a condo in Toronto.